Many Canadians had no idea that Justin Trudeau was going to try to run to be prime minister for like ever or whatever, indefinitely. We had no idea. We thought they were doing it like the United States or whatever, for like a 4 to 8 years and stuff like that. I don't think he will be the indefinite prime minister. You can see here Stephen Harper 2006 to 2015, slightly short of 10 years. All right, Paul Martin 2003 to 2006. John Chrétien 1993 to 2003. Kim Campbell only 1 year, or less than 1 year. Brian Mulroney also just shy of 10 years. Actually, it looks like 11 years. John Turner. Pierre, only 4 years. Okay. Oh, here again, Pierre, but he had he was a prime minister twice. All right. But I just don't see Justin being this indefinite. He's ultimate supreme leader, like he keeps saying he is, or he keeps saying that he's this dictator, and we just don't see it. When we brought you in, we knew you were going to do a great job. You have thus far, but your time is coming to an end. We all know that. It's not 7:29 a.m. For some reason that froze. I'm editing some videos and whatever happened there. But no, I don't see him being the indefinite, because that's what he's saying. He's saying he's going to be 2015 until until 2070 or whatever, or 2060 or whatever. I don't see that happening. All right. I see eventually it changing. It might be him. Who knows? If we'll see how I turn out, because if I don't succeed under him, I want him out. So if they keep trying to demolish my life, it's going to have him removed as well. So I think it's actually back and forth. If he demolishes my life, it demolishes his. And if I demolish his life, it demolishes mine. Because one of the largest candidates to take his place is that Jagmeet Singh. So if Jagmeet, I haven't talked to him recently, but he seems pretty cool. I don't think I've ever talked to him. But he's from Scarborough, all right? And Toronto's an all right place. I wish he would have been from Mississauga, because Mississauga, I love Mississauga. I don't like to live there, but they have a lot of really nice factories and like my Amazon distribution center is out of Mississauga. All right, so that's who I am. That's who a lot of Canadians are. We don't live in Mississauga, Brampton, and all that, but our Amazon stuff comes from there. We love seeing it on the tracking, Mississauga. Okay. And I remember when they first brought that distribution place to Canada. It never used to come from there. It was coming from London or something, or it used to come from somewhere else. And then they added that Mississauga one. So he might be a good choice. Who knows? If he can understand, and I think he does, the perspective that I'm in. I really don't want to live in the Toronto area, but the Toronto area is necessary for a lot of our country, obviously. And he knows the Toronto area. Now, you might have heard in the tone of my voice, it didn't sound too good when I said Scarborough, because I've heard some things. I've never really been. I think I've been one time to Scarborough, and there was an incident that happened in Brampton. But other than that, my time in Brampton was a great time. All right, but there was some incidents there, and I had some learning to do. But I know it's not an area that I would want to buy a home in. It's a whole different. It's an area that is now designated for a whole different demographic. But at the same time, there's many different demographics in Canada, and I finally sort of found my place where my demographic fits. But our demographic gets our packages and whatnot, and I even work with people that are in that area. Okay, so that needs, I don't know how, but I'll figure it out as I get older. But he could potentially become the prime minister, and that's why a lot of people like him. And that's what comes to mind when I think about him. I think about Amazon. I think about Microsoft out there in Brampton. I've seen the offices. I don't know if there's any pictures of it, but it is a big office out there, and I've seen it. Mississauga. I thought it was in Brampton, but I guess it's in Mississauga. See, they're so close. They're adjoining cities. See here, there it is here. It's I must have been going down this 407 into Brampton. Yes, and I've seen on the right side there the Microsoft offices. And I've been a customer of a lot of places here, Best Buy, and they're like, so they have a lot of things. I wish there would be more. Like I said, I wanted to push construction of more of these buildings, not just buildings. When I say buildings, but businesses elsewhere in Canada. It really annoys a lot of people that we have to travel all the way to this center just to go to Best Buy or Canada Computers. But there is also London, and they have Canada Computers, but that city needs cleaned up significantly. And same with Brampton and Scarborough needs some cleaning up to do. And Toronto is relatively. Toronto was a sort of a big eye opener, and they were a little bit. Everything's so different, I just was getting used to it, but anyways, because then I start to become sort of prejudice. It's just sort of how I grew up. We never used to have this much culture in Canada. Okay, I've been in Canada my entire life. All right. Born here, raised here, everything all the way around. I remember when we had made efforts to invite people from not only Africa, but India, and I've also did a full tour of Bethel, which is one of the Jehovah's Witness headquarters, and that was the organization, if anybody remembers, that brought most of these people, or had educated those people to come over here and immigrate to Canada. We built the Kingdom Halls. I wouldn't say we, but my family built the Kingdom Halls. And we are related by genealogy, but I know that they have their own beliefs, but they were the ones that educated those third world nations, built the Kingdom Halls, and then had them come over here into Canada and the United States. But now we have a large amount of these new people here in Canada, and some of us aren't used to them, specifically like me and some others. All right, and most people that I've met are really good people. But then there is those extremists that the Americans were calling them. And the reason why I use the word is because, okay, there's all different aspects to the Bible. And the Bible can get, there's some good stories, and those are the ones you usually hear are the good stories, bringing up the family and all that. But there are ones that practice and act upon some of those bad stories. And when I say bad, it's so hard to explain. And you have to watch for those people. And we don't necessarily care for those people, and I don't. And I was almost, I almost had a short-ended life because of somebody that might have been practicing a story or trying to reenact a story such as Cain and Abel. Okay. Also, there's a couple ones like that, but for instance, Cain and Abel. Now, these are stories that are in the Bible. These are stories that are in the Bible, but the Bible is something you should learn from, and we don't have to do some of the vicious things that are in the Bible. There is sacrifices, though, but you have to be pretty, the sacrifices were done a certain way. All right, sacrifices, or I'll say biblical sacrifice. All right, yeah, it was done at an altar. All right, so if you're so religious for the Lord, offering the Lord a sacrifice, then why was it done in such a way that was not properly offered to the Lord? And there's people that are doing that. Okay, and you got to watch for that. And I was going to say something else, but let me just keep moving on. There's supposed to be a procedure for your sacrifice, and nowadays these are extremely poor people that need to do these sacrifices. Now, I'm not speaking not speaking on the sacrifice of lambs, because everybody should have enough food now. We have a highly developed agriculture. We are highly developed in agriculture. So there's no need for people to sacrifice another human being over agriculture when everybody pretty much is has the capability, or not the capability, but has food. That would classify under greed. And isn't that a sin? So we have sinful extremism, and that happens. Sorry for mistyping. Sinful extremism. There is probably not even a word. Okay, but that's what I would call it. Very sinful extremism. Extremism that, you're taking it to the extreme. Okay? When you sacrifice another human being, it's sort of extreme. They would have had to have done something very much wrong to be rid of, and that wouldn't necessarily be called a sacrifice. That would be like a ridding of somebody. And that is why I'm still here today, because the Lord did not see my life as sinful, and that is why when they tried to rid of me, now they are being labeled as extremists, because if that were the case, the Lord would have tooketh my life, okay, and he did not take my life because he did not see that I was sinful to the extreme to die of that extreme infliction, or to die in that extreme nature. That is why some folks are now, that is why I label some folks as being extremists. And that is why the government of the United States and others label people as extremists. That means if you have no good reason to sacrifice or destroy, or the way they are so radical. And here you go again, zealotry, to be zealous of somebody. You're fanatical. You have an uncompromising pursuit of ideas, politically or religiously. Okay? That is an extremist. That is who we should get rid of. Okay, but then there's also bigotry. And I try my bestest to not bigot at all. And but they brought that out of me. But it was the right time. There is right times for bigotry. All right? It's usually when you're prejudiced against a person because of your social or economic status, or sometimes your race or something like that. But on the other hand of it, you can't blame yourself for the dedication that you've showed the Lord and the blessings that he's thus put upon you. So all we, and I'm just getting into it. I always planned on doing it, but I have been highly generous to the overly gay level, and I'm so sorry. I offered as much as I could, and I think a lot of people know that now, that Thomas has offered so much, okay, to a lot of people. And all I can tell people now, without being a bigot, is you have to work very hard. And I'm not the richest one either. So pick somebody else now to go and work with. All right, because people were getting very fanatical. All right, especially my probation officer, Judith Esposito. All right, and I understand it now, she's a woman, and I'm so sorry. I planned so much for Judith. Okay, I was on the last month, and I had a big surprise for Judith. And unfortunately, she let the demons fester, because I should have warned her, and she wouldn't have listened anyway at the time, that my Auntie Carolyn is known as an extremist Jehovah's Witness, and she is a fairly uneducated witness, and that is why she has been shunned. All right, she's been shunned for years and years and years. But they do believe, okay, it's more like this with the Jehovah's Witnesses. They do believe that she should still receive education. You know, she's a living human being. And she is a living human being. So she deserves that education. Now, okay, her situation is a little bit different. She's got a lot to learn. And she wasn't very good at her cleanliness, all right? But then she got screwed. She's had a pretty hard life, all right? She's had a pretty hard life. She had a genetic disability, all right? And she's gotten really old now where she's almost completely shunned again, all right? She was shunned in the beginning when she was a kid because of her drinking and all that and her attitude or whatever. And then she got shunned, and she's been recently shunned again because I'm not saying she has refused to shower, but she's incapable of it. All right. And I tried helping her, but she broke her hip years ago, and it's so unfortunate. But she still listens from afar. All right. But she's on her way out, and she will go see the Lord soon. And she's tried. Okay. But she loves, it's the way she's been treated, and they tried to do it to me. The way she's been treated, sort of, I don't know what's caused it, but she likes those certain passages of the Bible that are sort of the extreme passages or whatever. And also being shunned could say you have a lot of work to do and all that, and then come back and make your place or whatever, or make your own place. See, this is this man's place or whatever, and these are his followers or whatever, and technically these women are his, but these women might have sex with this man, but really they are owned by this man here or whatever, and they shun this man maybe because there wasn't enough women or what have you, and he has to go find his own women and all that. See, there's a lot of people get small-minded and they think their community is the only community, but there is many places in the world. And then it also happens to where you may be a part of this and you're as clean and white as they are, but maybe you're just a little bit higher up in regards to your finances and you have some gold trim on you. Okay, and that's where that gold thing comes with some of them. It's a jealousy thing, and that's back to the zealous word. And some of them are fairly powerful, and they say like we don't like gold and whatnot, or they have their silver tables. But in the Bible, it says that the most ultimate resource or whatever to show the appreciation and your offerings to the Lord is with gold. So there are ones that haven't obtained the gold like that yet, and they get mad. But you could be even just a normal person with not much gold or whatever, and you're on your way up, and you want to. But see, I'm was kind of like that, but I got my clothes stolen and whatnot, and they tried to fake shun me or whatever. But now I have my hand out and I am pulling people up. Okay. And there's a lot of lessons that the Lord teaches you, and everything is the Lord, everything. It took me a really long time to understand that. But I am so gracious that I met all these people. Because I always had the ambition to be somebody that the Lord would find appreciation of, but I never necessarily had the best life from the get-go. I had a lot of clothes. I had a lot of people. It's just shunning. Like, to be shunned doesn't necessarily mean that you did anything wrong. It just might be a jealousy from that specific people that think they know everything also. But what's happened to me has pushed me and educated me to a point where I've become smarter, and I am becoming a much stronger and smarter man. Where I'm able to well, I'm more of this man here my entire life. But yeah, my father, he didn't understand how high up we were, and but he did it for the right reason. And once you realize how high up you are, it becomes a little bit different. But I'm tired of and there's other people to do that, to put their hands out and bring somebody up. Because we did that with one person, and man, we did that with a couple people. I never had anybody put their hand out and bring me up. I had sort of been born about this level here, and then my dad kind of kicked me off to fly myself, and I flew up like this, and then I flew back down, I flew up, and then a big hungry one of these came along and just so happened to grab me or whatever, and then I had to build my, now I'm back up here again. But I'm not angry like that. But I am angry. And I don't have as much power as some of the other ones that are up there either, though. And it becomes really a certain, it becomes sort of scary for those ones that have shunned you, especially when you become so powerful that they are unable to shun you. And I was going to go into how I potentially, you could create your own denomination, things like that. Because there is certain ones that think they are so powerful that when they shun their child, they think, but they know he's going to make it. Hopefully. That's what they all hope. And I was one of the ones that have so far made it or whatever. But they come around, and some of them get really mad that they're still alive and that person's made it or whatever. But I haven't made it all the way yet. But I've made it a much more than maybe somebody that they had in mind when they shunned that individual. Oh, there was somebody they knew, and that's the reason why they shunned their son. But their son's highly successful, way more successful than the one that they accidentally shunned their son for. And that is kind of like can cause a big thing. But as a man, you cannot be shunned. All right? Because if you're a true man and you follow and practice the scriptures and you work hard, you can be unshunnable. All right? Because it's just another man that shuns you. So if that other man shunned you, believe it or not, if you're a man, you could become even more powerful than that man and shun that man back. And that's what's happening in my life. It's a lot of I shunned you and I shunned you back and all of that. All right? And, my auntie, they can abuse her and say they shun her, but they cannot do it to me. And then it really angers them that I'm young and energetic and I'm a producer and I produce and women are interested and it's all going so well. And that's scary. And that's when they turn to being an extremist or whatever. And now, we want people in the world that are going to produce, that are going to do something good. Not only good, but are going to feed people, that are doing something productive for society, for people's lives, for businesses and all that. Now, what is this? Okay. Now, this guy might have been seen as an extremist, the way they put him out to be an extremist. Yeah, he went to the extreme. All right. He was a soldier for his people, and that people, there are still lots of those people, let's just put it that way, that he wanted his message to get across for. Now, I'm not talking, I don't want to, like, you know, the loss of life. There was a woman that had gotten shot by one of these, when they went into the chamber. I've seen the video. She got shot into a specific area or whatever, and she passed away. And there's all different perspectives. Some of them were damaging property and whatever. So, but I do like that photo. You know, this is expensive property that the Lord has used a man to create. But then again, they only touched a few things, like I think a computer monitor, and which is highly expensive. I had my monitor stolen. Okay, so they had a certain message and all that, but some of them go beyond that and all that. So, you know, I don't necessarily hate those ones because I relate to them in a certain. Now, I wasn't one of these ones that condoned this or did that or anything, but I understand their message, and I have a lot of friends that understand that message, that they wanted to. And if they didn't do that, I feel like we would have felt defeated, and not we necessarily, but many people would have felt defeated. Caucasians, okay, would have felt absolutely defeated. All right, they have these other people. They do riots. Like, look at the other riots they had in the United States. Far worse. Okay, I understand they were inside that government building and all that, the Capitol. But look at some of the cities that they put on fire. And like, what is going on with that Kyle Rittenhouse? That's unacceptable. Something's going wrong with their laws there. They have open carry laws to carry the firearm or that tool to keep yourself safe. He's got a riot going out in the middle of the street, all right? There's fire in your local community. I can't even imagine this. One day you're inside the restaurant, and then the next minute it's on fire, and we have like bad kids, people that never did fuck all in their life. Sorry for my language, I feel like. And this is their big thing. Destroy property, and they have a certain look and smile to them and all that. Destroy people, all this. And all Kyle Rittenhouse, and that's all this guy's trying to say. He's like, this is unacceptable. And they just wouldn't listen. And they're just not listening. But they are. But he had to do that. And he had to say, for the people that built America, that work hard, okay, but it goes back and forth. I'm not racist, but look at this. All right? Now I understand some of the officers take it, but from my understanding, like Kyle, he was excited. All right, you seen him in the video. He's excited. All right, what's he supposed to do? Look depressed? And he looked proud. All right, you're going to say, well, he's not military, but he's like an American citizen, and under law, he's legally carrying his firearm when there is a a dire situation going on, and you can see he's with the officer here. So when he was attacked and he had to fire upon that individual, why has he not been released yet? I'm highly confident that he'll be released, but at the same time, we can't be highly confident because it hasn't always went in that favor. Okay? I don't see what he did as really wrong, but at the same time, it's his local neighborhood, you say. You say, well, Kyle, why didn't you just hop in your vehicle and flee the scene? All right? And leave it behind. He shouldn't have been out in this protest. You should have been in your property. That's what he did wrong. He was supposed to be at home. Now we have to know that's the only way you're going to beat it. What happened to your home? What happened to where you live? Was your home under siege? Because if your home was under siege, then it's justified. What was the like people have said, he's not military, he's not police. All right, this is who they hire. You know, he might be related and whatnot, but this is who they specifically, who's been licensed to go out and deal with these situations. Now, if this man had to do it, it would be a different story. All right. Kyle may be related to this man. He might agree with this man. It might be his local community. But Kyle should have stayed home with his firearm instead of went out with it to defend wherever he lived. So maybe a reduction of sentence at the worst, I think. At the most, like maybe he'll get a reduction in his sentence. But at the same time, there is open carry laws. Okay, but those are mostly for like, okay, you can open carry if you're going to hunt or something. You can open carry on your way into the hunting grounds, or you can open carry, etc., etc. That's more what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like, I'm an opium carrying badass and I'm walking down the streets. There's a reason why they get on those people, because you have an aggressive intention with your open carry. You're looking for something, all right, with that when you're doing that. Like you know that some people are going to question you on it. It's going to become a dispute when you do that kind of thing. So, what happens when there's a dispute? Well, you're gonna make when you have that thought like, oh, I'm gonna go openly carry, and then you have that thought like, oh, if someone tries to dispute on me, I might have to discharge. Then there you go. You already showed it. There you go. You've sort of violated the law because that's sort of seen as aggressive, because you are that factor that caused that dispute where you had to discharge. So you are the aggressor. But I understand that it's a thing where they wanted to show that they can exercise their rights, but they should have did it in a way different fashion. I like this one. But he's on. I'm not sure, but I think he's out or whatever. What's this? With a protest violating the curfew or whatever. See, they had a curfew. I'm not sure about his situation, but I'm just saying from this perspective or whatever. I haven't heard the news on where. I think he might be incarcerated still. Who knows? He might be out. Who knows? But like you can exercise your open carry rights like when you're going to your hunting grounds and whatever. So it's kind of a sticky situation. But look at him. You know, I don't necessarily think he should do, but he might have been confused by some of the. I don't know. You'd have to hear it from his story. From what I've heard, there was a fairly bad riot, and he uh, went out and he got attacked and all that. Now, he might have been protecting his family members or his neighbors' businesses or property, or that was his intention. And that is, I know under law that you can do that. All right, so it's a really sticky situation, but I don't see him being convicted of anything like with the hammer down really too hard, because he was sort of an innocent kid. But then they play that role like I'm an innocent kid and I know I'm going to get away with it even if I do it. So he may need some time to really learn that you can't just go out aggressively with it. And I think he's been doing some time. But sometimes you just need to sit back. But maybe it wasn't a time where you could just sit back, like I tend to do, and some others. Sit back and let it happen. I've never seen it with my own human eyes. He has, with that riot. I've been through some stuff, but I haven't ever witnessed it, those riots that they're having down there sometimes with these ones. Now, these ones are scary, and they're quite powerful. Originally, they were slaves brought to America. You learn in American history. And then they freed the slaves and whatnot to be their own freed people and whatnot, even though they were treated very well by the American slave masters or whatever. But this is a domination of those people are dominating, or they intend to dominate. You can see here, this is a sign of black power. And we're trying to rid the world of supremacy in general. It's all about equality, they're saying, right? But that's not equality, but I guess it could be seen as equality too. Maybe these people feel like they've been unjustly treated, but no, they haven't. They're free. They're able to go to work just like anybody. You know, Kyle and his family had to go pay for this rifle. They didn't just have it given to them. I'm sure he had a really good, see here, I'm sure he had a job where he worked hard to obtain that rifle or certain properties. And then they come and they destroy, and that's sort of terrorism, to go around and catch buildings on fire too. And, when you look at that perspective, of the properties that have been damaged or whatever. Here's a example. You have a Walmart. All right. Now, there wasn't a Walmart in this case, but even the general stores and whatnot, right? You go in there and you go get groceries. But you are not the only person, and even groups of individuals, families and whatnot, are not the only people. These stores serve so many people for the communities, groceries, and all the different other things that they serve. When you light the buildings on fire, that's a loss for not only just you and Walmart, but think of all the community, all the people that it feeds. It's not just of one family. One Walmart might feed, not feed, but it's a necessary resource where people bring their dollars to trade for necessities. So if that building that hosts those necessities is inflicted with terrorism, like those fires and things, it's bigger than just a small loss. It's a huge loss to a level that's incomprehensible. Here's just one couple here, and obviously a family, all right? But there's so many people. There's just so many people that, and the whole point is to keep this building standing and clean and everything for as long as possible as we can, so that people can use it. And I've said this one before, I just never recorded it, but it's hard to explain. It's just so vast, just how many people one Walmart serves or one local business serves. So when they go in and they riot in the U.S. or whatever, and other places, and they destroy these businesses, like look at here, the Family Dollar. You know how many people went to this Family Dollar? A lot of people. That displaced a lot of people, and that's terrorism. You're destroying something that that it just is incomprehensible.